Hey everyone, Mr. Cruze here with yet another geometry review for you. This time, the Chapter 12 review, Part 3. Remember, this chapter is all about circles and all their neat little fascinating theorems and properties. And we can answer some algebraic problems with them, basically. In this video, I'll be finishing up your review. Remember, your test is tomorrow, Tuesday the 21st. So good luck studying. You can always come in and ask for help. You can always tweet me at Mr. Cruze Math. You can email me, or you can post comments on this video. You can also like this video if you want. You can subscribe for future content, because you do have a quarter 4 test coming up, as well as a final exam, and there will be reviews online, of course, because I'm here to help you out. That's my job. So let's finish this up. What do you say? Number 19, this part's x, this part's 10, this part's 6, this part's 5. I noticed that this is case 1, and I know a lot of you were looking very confused when I did that in my notes, but since they both meet inside, I think this is actually the easiest case. You have to take x times 10, and that's equal to 6 times 5. That really comes from similar triangles, but we're not going to worry too much about the y for this. Anyway, x ends up being 3. Number 20, on the other hand, is case 2. Case 2 is not so simple. I can't just multiply like I did case 1. But basically, you take the part that's outside, which I think we can all agree is 8, times the whole segment. Well, how long is this whole segment? Well, this part's 10, this part's 8, so that's 18. So basically, you're going to take the part that's inside times the part that's outside. The part that's outside times the whole segment. And that equals the exact same in the other segment. The part that's outside times, let me just write that in red, the whole segment. Well, how long is this whole segment? Well, technically I would add these two, right? So it'd be 9 plus x. Okay, so you take the part that's outside times the whole segment, and set that equal to the part that's outside times the whole segment. You have to do a little multiplication here. 8 times 18 is 144. And then on the right, you distribute. You get 81 plus 9x. Let's see, shoot, I'm running out of room. 144 minus 81 ends up being 63. And then you divide by 9, x ends up being 7. Okay. I kind of didn't show my steps there, but anyway, I ran out of room. X is 7. Okay. Case 2 is kind of a modification. Actually, we're going to need case 2 on number 21 to figure out x, and then I think we'll use case 3 to get y. So let's get x first. Again, take the part that's outside times the whole segment, which is 9 plus 16, which is 25. That equals the exact same thing in the other. You take 8 times the whole segment, which is 8 plus x. 9 times 25 will be 225, and that equals, you distribute, so we get 64 plus 8x. Subtract 64, you get 161 equals 8x, and then you divide by 8, and you get 20 point, did it say to round anything? No, I don't think so. It'll probably say like round to the nearest tenth or something. You should get, anyway, 20.125 is x. Okay? Now, let's get y. Well, y is this part. It's a tangent. I can use that one, or I can use this other segment from before. I'm going to use the other segment from before. 9 times the whole segment equals the part that's outside times the length of the segment, which is just itself. So actually, y squared ends up being 225, which means y is the square root of 225, which means y is 15. So that was kind of nice. You had to round for x, but not for y. That's kind of sweet. Alright, that's probably as complicated as they get. Number 22, we're trying to find an angle again. This kind of harkens back to this one from a previous video where you had to subtract because they met outside. Since this angle is made by 2 chords inside the circle, you add these 2 arcs instead of subtracting them. So x equals 1/2 70 plus 116. So you figure out what 70 plus 116 is. Let's see, 70 plus 116 is 186. And then you cut it in half, and you get x is 93 degrees. Not so bad. Okay. 23, this is probably one of the trickier ones. If this arc is 100, then wouldn't this arc have to be 360 minus 100, which is actually 260. Now, what did I tell you about the angles? If this angle, we'll call it x, if that angle is outside the circle, then you subtract these two arcs and take half of them. So angle A, or I think I called it x, right, equals 1/2 260 minus 100. So x equals 1/2 of 160, which means x equals 80 degrees. Again, these aren't really complex calculations. They just take a little bit of setup, and then it's really algebra after that. Write the equation of a circle with center 2, -5, and a radius of 7. Well, you remember the formula. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, where hk is your center, and r is, of course, your radius. So this is hk. So you do x minus h plus y minus k, but when you have minus and negative, that becomes plus. And that equals r squared. Well, 7 squared is, in fact, 49. There's your equation of your circle. Plug and chug, folks. It's not too bad. 25 would go backwards. Here's an equation of a circle. Can we get the center and the radius? Well, let me give you a little tip. Take the opposite of what you see, okay, to get the center. Take the opposite of what you see for the center. Let me repeat that. Take the opposite of what you see for the center. I see a -1, which means my x-coordinate's going to be +1. It's the opposite. I see a +10, which means my y-coordinate's going to be -10. It's the opposite. 64 happens to equal r squared. Remember, because it has to equal r squared. So I'm going to take the square root of 64, and that'll get me r. Square root of 64 is 8. There you go. Oh, you might want to identify that as the center, I guess. But there you go. Center and radius. 26 is very much like 24, only this time I gave you a picture. Remember, you need two things. You need the center, and you need to know how long the radius is. Well, the center is located at 3. This is the center. The center is located at 3, -4. And how do I get the radius? Well, you can count. You can either count up, down, left, or right, straight from the center, and count the boxes. This is 1, 2. My only advice, make sure you know what they're counting by on the axes. These are by 1s, but they might not always be by 1s. They might be by like 2s or 3s or whatever, okay? Anyway, here we go. Well, again, you can take the opposite of what you see. I see a +3, so this is a -3. I see a -4, so that's going to be a +4. And it equals the radius squared, which is 4. Okay? Well, that's it, folks. That's your review. Good luck studying. Again, if you have any questions, post them on this video. Tweet me, email me, come in the morning. I want you to do well on this test. I want it to be the best test of the whole year. End on a bang, okay? If you have any questions, just ask, all right? Good luck studying, and I'll see you tomorrow.